he got asked about Tulsi Gabbard. And the reporter, the journalist said, there are foreign allies who are very nervous about sharing intelligence with her. And he said, oh, I don't know. I'm surprised to hear it. I heard that for the first time the other day. I mean, I think she's a great American. I think she's got tremendous common sense. This woman with tremendous common sense, Tulsi Gabbard, went to Syria, met with Assad, legitimized him as a member of Congress, then came back here and advocated for him. You're telling me this woman went over there, came back and advocated for him, and she's got common sense? Our foreign allies are right to be nervous about sharing intelligence with her.
Well, she's a weird one because she has so many characteristics that you would think that everyone who's a progressive would want as president. She is a veteran who twice served overseas, twice deployed. She's been a veteran for a long time congresswoman. She's from Hawaii. She's Hawaiian. You would say she's a woman of color.
They say she's a woman of color.
She's a very articulate, rock-solid woman, and they've tried to find a bunch of dirt on her, and they can't. They don't.
Welcome to the newest storm of headlines. Joe Rogan, The Vi, and a $50 million lawsuit. Just now, Tulsi Gabbard launched a legal bomb so big that it almost sent Whoopi's wig into space. In a metaphorical sense, Rogan has front row tickets and a flamethrower ready to roast every second of the consequences.
We'll get to that. I want to start with something that I think is also important about facts. Because recently on your show here...
I was just going to get to that.
Good. Helping you out.
You want me to ask you questions?
No, look, some of you have accused me of being a traitor to my country, a Russian asset, a Trojan horse, or a useful idiot, I think was the term that you used. Which basically means that I'm naive or lack intelligence.
This is a full-fledged legal street fight in heels, not simply a lawsuit. Tulsi Gabbard just gave The View a reality check worth about $50 million. No more mocking tweets, just cold subpoenas. Joe Rogan, like some chaos clairvoyant, pounced with lightning speed when the drama during the day became uncomfortably real. He laughed, as he naturally did. He views criticizing The View hosts as analogous to sampling a smorgasbord of journalistic malfeasance, with each criticism getting worse than the one before, and none of it being nourished.
Gabbard got on to defend herself, and Joy Behar starts panicking, going over her notes while Tulsi is refuting everything that she said.
Yeah, I mean, Joy Behar, like, again, these people have dementia. These are people who, like, should not be allowed out of the house. They have a national platform. I mean, it is crazy. They have no idea. These people have never read like a book.
And there's...
Let's go back in time. The prospective Tulsi Gabbard was deemed a threat to democracy and brunch in a way that was essentially a studio group conversation with lighting and dubious beliefs. Tulsi was quietly honing her legal skills while others were busy spreading half-truths and hot takes. It turns out that she was getting ready to respond with facts rather than emotions when they were chatting on the air.
She is a strong woman. She is a person who served overseas.
I want to let your viewers know exactly who I am.
All right.
Set the record straight. I am a patriot. I love our country. I am a strong and intelligent woman of color, and I have dedicated almost my entire adult life to protecting the safety, security, and the freedom of all Americans in this country. It was the attacks on 9/11.
I guess we're getting a little bit far ahead of ourselves, but Franklin Graham finds you refreshing. He doesn't find me refreshing.
Tulsi Gabbard did the traditional route and got a lawyer instead of venting online like everyone else. Just a $50 million lawsuit and the prospect of in-court restitution, no drama, no TikTok tirades. As she swung a legal attack with sniper accuracy, the presenters of The View rolled their eyes. Joe Rogan, who described it as the roast the mainstream media had anticipated, almost passed out from laughter. Finally, someone reminded them that no matter how many commercial breaks you hide behind, the real world still has effects outside of their studio bubble.
Richard Spencer, the white nationalist leader, says he could vote for you.
Joy, this is why,
I mean, you're on Tucker Carlson at least 10 times. Why don't you go on Chris Wallace's show?
This is why I'm here, because you and other people continue to spread these innuendos that have nothing to do with who I am.
Well, Hillary
that have
Clinton
nothing to
started
do
it,
with
and then
who
you
I
shot
am.
back at her, boy. You called her the queen of warmongers.
You doubled down, unfortunately, you doubled down on the baseless accusations that she made that strikes at the core of who I am. I'm a soldier. Because of the attacks on 9/11, I enlisted in the military to go after and defeat and destroy the evil that visited us on that day. I've served now for over 16 years, deployed to the Middle East during the height of the war, where every single day I saw firsthand the terribly high human cost. That's why I ran for Congress.
The day's drama, Joe Rogan was frank. He criticized The View for faking breaking news by turning a cultural joke into something else entirely. He likened their disputes to family disagreements at Thanksgiving, but with a lot more advertisements and fewer facts. Their formula: take a headline, add a little bias and stupidity, then serve it lukewarmly to a studio audience that cheers. Rogan reminded everyone that disparaging a seasoned former politician like Tulsi Gabbard without consequence is not only inconsiderate, it is beginning to backfire. The View can feel the feedback when the echo chamber cracks.
She's also a Russian asset.
So
Really? I mean, this is outrageous. This is outrageous and offensive on so many levels. I've served as a member of Congress now for almost 7 years, receiving high-level national security and intelligence briefings, serving on the Foreign Affairs Committee, the Armed Services Committee, the Homeland Security Committee, working to ensure the safety and security of the people of this country. This is why I'm running for president, to continue that commitment of service.
What appeared to be a hot take disguised as a hit job, rather than spending time on tweets, Tulsi changed the course of events with a $50 million legal power maneuver. While the typical talking heads continued to yell their thoughts into thin air, Joe Rogan pumped her up like a concert promoter, calling it a long overdue takedown of media fakery.
Yeah, so that's been overwhelming my past couple days. So I just went in there, did my thing. I had no idea what to expect. I didn't know who Sunny Hostin was. I actually still really don't know. So I wasn't expecting necessarily for her to kind of try to ambush me in that way and attack my character in that way.
Well, it is the show that people love to hate.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
They get so much hate watching viral clips of them saying ridiculous things. I mean,
Yeah.
it is a rabies-infested hen.
Tulsi arrived with legal fire and facts, no theatrics, just a well-thought-out demolition. Her case demonstrated that The View's custom of acting as though there are no repercussions is not realistic. Calling their bluff hurt their reputation, so this wasn't simply idle talk. They market anger as entertainment and brush off meaningful argument as noise, as Joe Rogan scathingly pointed out. He said, they'd be better off hiring a civics teacher than a stylist, characterizing the show as a carnival full of verbiage that primarily basically goes in circles while feigning to influence public opinion.
If you average out the View hosts, among the dumbest people on television. And so it's like they say the thing that people are thinking, but they say it very directly, so they expose whatever truth. But
I don't think some of them are dumb.
you don't think so?
No, I don't think Sunny Hostin.
You think it's
dumb.
deliberate?
I think she's ideologically driven, and they have blinders on for sure. I don't think Sunny's dumb. But Whoopi is certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly.
Without a trace of their normal drama, Tulsi arrived cool, collected, and strategic, transforming The View's regular platform of cacophony into a courtroom. She brought only accuracy, while they created all the noise. Joe Rogan realized that fame on television does not mean that one is immune from repercussions. Tulsi was brave, not petty, in his and many others' eyes, the perspective completely unprepared. It turns out that facts, not sarcasm or studio lighting, are what make a courtroom function. Daytime shows love to act as though they understand difficult subjects, but in reality, they're just acting, as Rogan's parody delightfully revealed.
Between right and left authoritarianism, and now people don't recognize that if you just stop looking at it in terms of red and blue, look at the actions. Whether it's war, suppression of free speech, pharmacological interventions that are mandatory, whatever it is, that used to all be associated with the authoritative right, the authoritarian right. And now those things are being embraced by the left. And I just think it's just an ideology thing. And I think we get confused and we think we're on the right side. We're on the right side. And if it's our side that's saying this, for sure it's the right thing to do. And no one's critically thinking.
Don't be duped. Tulsi's lawsuit is a wake-up call that is upending the media's comfortable bubble, not just a PR gimmick. Joe Rogan is getting ready to roast even more on his show as legal teams are trying to stay up. It is now a full-fledged challenge to media immunity and whether their clownish pandemonium truly has legal bounds. It is no longer just about terrible takes. What's on the line? $50 million, and Tulsi Gabbard isn't hesitant to hold them accountable.
So it has this very specific ideological bubble in which they operate in. You know, and they always bring on a token conservative woman, and they yell over her and silence her. And, you know, they did that with Meghan McCain, and they did that with what is that other blonde woman from Survivor? Do you remember her, Jamie? She was always yelling. I mean, it's a bizarre.
The lawsuit makes the point quite clear. Don't be shocked when someone shows up with receipts and a lawyer, but feel free to make rash charges on national television.
Your job, and you're worried about podcasts taking over, and who's the source of news, and we said Donald Trump was Hitler, but half the country disagreed with us, and he won, and this is and Joe Rogan believes.
Media figures skirted responsibility for years until now, when there is at last a true cost. Joe Rogan is enjoying this long overdue cultural awakening, laughing at the View's fact-free chaos and taking in the drama. Officially, the chat show table has been transformed into a courthouse, with the actual action taking place away from daytime television.